Coming up next is our Did You Know feature, which is brought to you by Tropical Express Jewelers. We'll be right back after these messages. Stay tuned.
Tropical Express Watch and Jewelry Repairs maintains a courteous and friendly staff. Come in and see the beautiful array of jewelry and watches. They are located at 34 St. James Street, upstairs the Heritage Mall, downtown Montego Bay. They make, sell, service, and repair a large variety of jewelry through an expert and experienced team of jewelers. Call them at 342-0193 or 476-9943. Email cliveskenandlee@yahoo.com or visit their website at tropicaljewelers.weebly.com.
Did you know that the last time somebody was hanged in Jamaica was in 1988? Stanford Dinall and Nathan Foster are the last two persons to have faced the gallows. This took place on February 18, 1988 at the St. Catherine District Prison. Some of the condemned prisoners were defiant and force had to be used to get them on the gallows, which is a small 10 by 10 room with a cellar. The prison authorities would wait on the Ministry of National Security to send written notice of the names of those to be executed a few days before the date of the hanging. Once the authorities at the St. Catherine District Prison get this directive, execution work begins immediately. Their first duty is to separate the prisoner from the general prison population. They would be then taken to a prison area which can accommodate up to 3 persons at a time. Following this, he is then placed under a 24-hour watch, presumably to prevent suicide. However, most times, these condemned prisoners are usually robbed of their appetites. One of his rights during that period is to be allowed to see a priest who would read his last writ and persuade him to give his life over to the Lord. This is on the morning of his execution. The last writ is followed by his last breakfast. He reserves the right to choose his last meal. However, most times, these condemned prisoners are usually robbed of their appetites and requested nothing at all. He is not allowed to choose the time for his execution. Hanging is allowed after 8 in the morning, not before or long afterwards, because the body must be buried before 12 noon. In addition, the rule states that other prisoners are not to be let out of their cells before the hanging. When all this is done, the prisoner is then weighed. A sandbag is prepared with the same weight of the prisoner. This way, they would know how to prepare the hanging stage, as the weight of the prisoner is very important to determine the quickest time of his death. The sandbag is then used to represent the prisoner. The length of the hanging rope is very crucial. If it is too long, the prisoner will suffer decapitation. If it is too short, the prisoner will suffer up to 45 minutes of strangulation before he dies. 5 warders are appointed to take the well-sheltered prisoner to the gallows. He has the right to request the presence of the priest up to his last moment. A doctor has to be present to pronounce the prisoner dead before he is allowed to be buried.